There was a chill in the air that the afternoon sun couldn't banish, the ghost of winter flowing off the mountains, down across the plains of Flathead Lake, down into the grassy field beside the pond, and right into Korri Fontenot's soul. She pushed the door of the hopper shut and stepped away as the fan spun up, kicking up clouds of dust and bits of grass. She squinted at the debris in the air, an instinct only recently returned after decades of seeing the world through mechanical eyes, shielding her face with an arm that could feel the pliable leather of her jacket, with fingers that could touch the biting wind. The hopper wafted away on columns of air, and she lowered her arm and saw the house. Sheltered behind groves of lodgepole pines, it didn't have the air of the mansion it was trying hard not to be, but neither did it manage the rustic ranch house it sought. It was a rich man's house, and that fact oozed from every pore of the ancient wood and stone with an aura that was a bit too perfect, a bit too well-groomed to be a working ranch despite the whinny of the horses carrying up from the stables and the distant but pungent scent of their droppings. The man who approached her up the cobblestone path was no more ranch hand than this was a ranch, again in spite of appearances. His checkered shirt and blue jeans had too much crisp precision, his frosted blonde hair lacking the unruly mat of a working man. And his eyes were sharp and watchful, seeing through her rough spacer's appearance, the vat-grown leather and loose utility pants and cross-strapped boots, and penetrating even the ageless smoothness of her new flesh. Their cerulean gaze pierced to the core of what she was, and she could feel his cold appraisal, chillier than the autumn wind. "Miss Fontenot," he said with a cordial nod. "I'm Anderson Ford, Mr. Nyberg's assistant. If you'll come with me—" "Of course." Her own voice sounded strange to her still, even after 4 years. The rough, gravelly remains of vocal cords ruined by smoke inhalation and never properly treated had stuck with her for a century, until she finally let the scars go, along with the memories and the guilt. Until now, when the memories had chased her down, hunted her across the stars, and brought her here again. Kalispell, Montana, Earth. She hadn't set foot on the world since that day over 100 years ago when she left everything behind. She'd sworn to herself to never come back, but there were some calls you couldn't ignore. She followed forward down the path, the stones making a hollow sound beneath the soles of her boots. She saw a dog eyeing her suspiciously from a side yard. A retriever, she thought, its tail wagging slowly and hesitantly as it tried to decide if she was a potential playmate or a threat to its home. "Good question,"